Welcome to G-Man Gaming and Reviews. Alright, so this is going to be a continuation of our series. So we're going to start moving on to the complexity 2 characters. If you're watching this on the podcast, or listening to this on the podcast, I should say, please rate it 5 stars and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Alright, so we'll do it in order. So we'll start with Bunker. So let's go to... let's just check with Bunker that we've got all the variants. Yep, we do. Okay. So this is going to be part 1 where we talk about the base character and the all the cards. And then I will go through part 2 where we do a gameplay, and part 3 where we talk about variants. Now, what is Bunker? Bunker is primarily a damage dealer. He has the ability to heal himself, but he also has the ability to stop, environment cards from being played. But for the most part, he's a straight-up damage dealer. Now, his playstyle revolves around his mode cards, and depending upon what mode you've got selected, certain things will happen. So, he doesn't have the ability to get rid of ongoing cards and environment cards apart from targets by destroying them. He can stop environment cards from getting into play, but with one of his cards, but only works for one turn. So we'll start by looking at the base power. So the base power of Bunker is a power called Initialize. Essentially, it just allows him to draw a card. So this allows him to, helps him get the cards that he wants to get into play. Now, the next card is called Adhesive Foam Grenade, and it's a one-shot. There's 3 of them in the deck, and basically, environment cards cannot be played until the start of your next turn. Pretty decent card. Depending on the environment deck you're up against, it can be very, very useful. The next card is it's one of his ongoing cards. That's not a mode, and it's called Ammo Drop. And it's an ongoing limited, so you can only have one of these cards in play. And what it is whenever a villain card is destroyed, you may draw a card even if a mode says that you cannot. So this helps him with his deck draw, right? Now, the thing to keep in mind about this card is that it doesn't just work on your turn, it also works on other people's turn. So it doesn't matter it's whenever a villain card is destroyed. So keep that in mind, that when you've got one of these cards in play, you'll be drawing extra cards. Which is great for this character because he's got an ability that allows him to discard cards to do more damage. Now, there's 3 of those cards in the deck, and it was called Ammo Drop. The next one is an equipment card, which isn't limited. It's called Auxiliary Power Source, and at the start of your turn, you may destroy this card. If you do, you may use an additional power this turn, and it has a power that allows you to draw 3 cards and destroy this card. So, basically helps with drawing extra cards into his hand, essentially. It's just that you have to waste a play turn to do it. The next card is a one-shot called Decommissioned Hardware, and there are 3 of them in the deck. And basically, it allows you to select one equipment card in your trash and put it into play. So it's good for helping him get his equipment cards back into play, especially since Bunker revolves around his equipment cards. Now, the next card is a really good sweeping card, I'll call it. It's good for getting rid of a lot of targets. It's called External Combustion. It's a one-shot, and Bunker deals himself 2 fire damage and deals each non-hero target 3 fire damage. This is a very, very good card, similar to Rampage, which Haka has, but it doesn't deal damage to all hero targets, just himself. And if he's got heavy plating in play, he'll only take 1 damage from it, which makes it even better. Now the next card is called Flak Cannon. It's an equipment limited, so you can only have 1 of them in play. And basically it's a power. Bunker deals 1 target 3 projectile damage. Straight up damage dealing card. You'll be using it a lot depending on what equipment cards you're using. But yeah, the next one is another equipment card called Gatling Gun. And essentially what it does is at the start of your turn, Bunker deals 1 target 2 projectile damage. At the end of your turn, discard 1 card or destroy this card. Now, this is the reason why you want to have cards like Ammo Box in play. You want him drawing a lot of cards so that he can keep this card in play. Now, if he's got Turret Mode in play, it actually does an additional 1 damage. So it does 3 damage at the start of his turn. So this is just one of these good cards as to why he's such a great damage dealer. That was Gatling Gun. There's 2 of them in the deck. The next one is another equipment limited card that has 3 of them in the deck. It's called Grenade Launcher. And basically what it does is Bunker deals 1 target. Bunker deals 1 target 2 projectile damage. He may deal a second target 2 projectile damage, and then deal a third target 1 projectile damage. So this is very, very good for clearing lots of targets, essentially. Okay. And there's hang on. And there's 3 of them in the deck. The next card is Heavy Plating. It's an equipment limited, and it basically reduces damage dealt to Bunker by 1. So no disadvantage to having that in play. Now, this next equipment card is called Maintenance Unit, and it allows Now, it's not limited. Okay, there's 3 of them in the deck. It essentially allows Bunker to regain 2 HP. Pretty good card, especially if you've only got 1 target to damage. I mean, if you've got 2 of them in play and you're playing Turret Mode, you can essentially heal yourself for 4 damage each turn, which is pretty good. The next one is one of his more powerful equipment cards called Omni Cannon. It's an equipment limited. There's only 2 of them in the deck, and at the start of your turn, you may put up to 3 cards from your hand beneath this card. Power. Destroy all cards beneath this card. Bunker deals 1 target X energy damage, where X is 2 times the number of cards destroyed. So essentially, it has the capability to do 6 damage per turn, as long as you're putting 3 cards from your hand into it. Now, the next card is the first of his modes. It's called Recharge Mode. It's an ongoing card and a mode card, and there's 3 of them in the deck. When this card enters play, destroy all other mode cards, like the other mode cards do. You cannot play cards or use powers. You may draw an additional card during your draw phase. Reduce damage dealt to Bunker by 1. At the start of your turn, you may destroy this card. So, this is a mode that you want to play initially, because it lets you draw more cards, right? So you want to use this to help him get cards into play, because he gets to draw an additional card. The next mode is called Turret Mode. There's 3 of them in the deck. It's also an ongoing and a mode card. And when this card enters play, destroy all other cards. You cannot play or draw cards, except for if you have Ammo Box, which allows you to draw a card every time a card is destroyed. You may use an additional power during your power phase. Increase damage dealt by Bunker by 1. At the start of your turn, you may destroy this card. So essentially the way that this works is you want to get as many of his equipment cards in play, preferably all of them, and you want to use Turret Mode to just deal damage each turn, which is what he wants to do. Now the last card in the deck is a mode card as well. It's called Upgrade Mode. Now, when this card enters play, destroy all other mode cards. You may play an additional card during your play phase. You cannot use powers at the start of your turn. You may destroy this card. and at the start of your turn, you may destroy this card. Now, so the way that it works is you want to use recharge mode first to draw more cards into your hand. Then, preferably, you want to play upgrade mode to play the additional cards you've drawn into your hand. And then, lastly, you want to play turret mode to just make use of all those equipment cards that you've got in your hand, so you can just deal damage to the villain targets and the villain themselves. So that's pretty much a run through of all his cards and all his. So what we're going to do now is, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this on the podcast, we'll be transitioning straight to part 3, which is where I do a discussion of the variants, where they fit in, and where he fits into a team. And also, I'll actually be, if you're listening to this in the podcast, I'll actually be putting a link to the YouTube video, and I'll have it in chapters so you can go straight to the second chapter, as opposed to having to watch the first part again, or the third part, because you've already watched it. So this is G-Man Gaming Reviews, the end of part 1, transitioning to part 2 if you're listening to YouTube, and transitioning to part 3 on the podcast. Welcome to part 3 of our guide to the bunker for the Sentinels of the Multiverse game. So here we're going to go through the variants, and also where does bunker fit in on a team. So in terms of where he fits into a team, I know he's a Complexity 2 character, but a character that I can think of that's pretty similar is Knife from that we did previously. He's pretty much a straight up damage dealer, okay? He primarily focuses on doing high damage to single targets, but his grenade launcher ability gives him the ability to do damage to multiple targets. So he's pretty straightforward in how he plays. The only thing reason why I would say he's a Complexity 2 character is that understanding how his modes work, and then sometimes you've got to make harsh decisions as to whether or not you want to focus on getting more cards, or you want to focus on doing damage now. Because, like, for instance, like at the end game is you want to get turret mode into play, right? Because, one, it lets you use an extra power, but two, it increases the damage dealt by bunker by 1. So, you know, if you especially if you've got Legacy in play, or one of the other characters that buffs damage, you know, if you play Flat Cannon and Grenade Launcher in a turn, that's quite a significant amount of damage, and he will be consistently doing that throughout the game once he's set up. Plus, with his Gatling gun ability and his Omni Cannon, especially if you've got ammo drop in play, he can start doing tremendous amounts of damage in a turn, because Omni Cannon, so Gatling gun does damage at the start of the turn. It's not a power. You don't have to use it. You just have to discard a card at the end of your turn or destroy it, right? So an Omni Cannon as well means that he can start doing tremendous amounts of damage once he's set up. But like I said, it's all about getting him set up. So one thing to keep in mind is, unlike, say, other characters, he has no ability to destroy environment and ongoing cards. So if you're going to play him in a team, just be aware that if you're going to take him as a damage dealer, you need to take other characters who can destroy ongoing cards and equipment cards, right? You've got to do that. But like I said, Bunker is a very, very good character. Now we'll start talking about the variants. So if you actually watch the playthrough, you'll notice that I technically unlocked the achievement for unlocking GI Bunker, which was good. Now, GI Bunker is probably has a really powerful ability in the right circumstance. Now, GI Bunker's ability is called Panzer Buster. It's a power, like all the base powers are, and it basically allows you to select a damage, and until the start of Bunker's next turn, damage dealt to that target is irreducible. Now, this ability you don't need to use this ability for it to be useful. Just having it there. Like, for instance, if you're playing against Iron Legacy or against Apostate, right? If Apostate has runes in play or relics in play and he gets the Relic of Malediction, right? And something called Periapt of Woe, if I recall. Hang on, I'm just going to check that. If we go down to Apostate, Periapt of Woe, I'm pretty sure it's called. So we go Apostate. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Oh, wait, no. So if you're trying to get rid of this card, right, now you'll notice that this card, right, reduce damage dealt to this card by 2. Now, if he has Runes of Malediction in play, which is one of the worst cards that he can get into play, right, and if he has Orb of Delirium at the same time, not only can you not attack his other relics, whenever you attack any of the other relics, it goes to this card and it's -2 damage. -2 damage is quite substantial, okay? Especially when you're not set up at the beginning of the game. There are things that can happen where he just gets a whole bunch of relic cards in play, like it's happened to me before, and now you're struggling to do any damage to the Orb of Delirium. And you can't damage any of the other cards because you have to go through the Orb of Delirium. So there are times when... This is the time that I can think of the most. But there are times when being able to make all damage irreducible to a target is a lifesaver in this game. So it's a very, very powerful variant. And to be honest, it is probably one that I would use over the base variant. Because there are times when, even when you're dealing with certain environment cards, that you've just got to get a target out of play. But they're stacking all these damage reduction. This will allow you to get to that target, and it affects the entire team, and it's a power, so you can use it every turn. So a very, very powerful variant. The next one is Bunker Engines of War. And the base power, the power is called Locomotion. Discard a mode card. If you do, you may destroy an ongoing card. Now, this one's an interesting one because it's a base power that allows you to destroy an ongoing card, but you have to discard a mode card. Now, the big advantage of this card is once you've got Bunker set up, right? Like you've got all your equipment cards in play, and now the modes are useless to you, right? You're not going to be playing them, right? If you have to play if you have to play one of the other modes after you've played turret mode, something's gone horribly wrong. So it turns otherwise cards that become useless at that point into things that you can discard to destroy an ongoing card. And having a base power that can destroy an ongoing card is very, very powerful. Now, the only problem with it is that it doesn't help you get it set up in any way, like his base power does, but having the ability to destroy an ongoing card... to destroy an ongoing card, as long as you've got a mode card in your hand, is actually quite powerful. And if he's set up, he's probably going to have lots of mode cards in his hand because he would have been destroying villain cards and getting extra cards into his hand. So another good variant. Can't see anything wrong with this one. This was a pretty good variant as well. The next one is Termination Bunker. And the power is called Modulize, and it allows you to destroy one of your ongoing or equipment cards. If you do, you may draw a card, play a card, and use a power in any order. Now, The only time that I can... now, this is a very powerful ability, but I think the best time to use it is when you've got a mode card in play that you don't want to use anymore. So instead of destroying it at the start of your turn, you use this power to destroy it, and because you and by doing that, you can draw a card and play a card and use a power. So it is a very, very powerful ability, but because you have to destroy one of your ongoing cards or equipment cards to do it, you're not going to be doing it very often. You don't really want to be destroying equipment cards with bunker, unless there's a really good reason for doing so. Like if you've got, say, the Gatling gun, but you don't have you don't have the cards to support it, to keep it in play, you might as well destroy it, use modularize, and draw an extra card, play a card, or use a power. So it's a very, very powerful ability. But like I said, I would probably use it after a mode card has become useless that's in play, to get rid of it and do some awesome things when you get rid of it. Now, I'm pretty sure... yeah, that's the last one. Now, the last one is Freedom 5 Bunker. The power is called Tactical Uplink, and it allows you to reveal and replace the top card of each hero deck. If you reveal a mode, put it into play. Another player may put the top card of their deck into play. This is also an interesting one. Luckily for Bunker, he doesn't seem to have any variants that I would say are bad or not that good. The fact that, I mean, I'm not really that happy about the reveal and replace. It just seems to be a useless sling. But it allows other players to put the top card of their deck into play, so it is more of a team support. So especially if you're playing with Legacy, for instance, or Wraith or Pass, and you need to help them get their cards that they want into play, this is a really, really good variant to have. Okay, because it lets them put the top card of their deck into play. So this is more of a team support, and the thing is that once you're set up, you don't need to use it. But like I said, I can see this is a very, very powerful variant as well. Like, especially when you're playing Legacy, right? You need to get cards into his hand so that he can get to the cards that he needs to tank. This is going to help you do it. It's also going to help Wraith or Pass get to the cards that they need to control the deck. So this is more team support. Forget about, like, the revealing a mode is very, very useful. But the real benefit of this is allowing another player to put... it's only if you reveal... hang on, if you reveal them, put it into play. Yeah. So like I said, it helps you get other players, other heroes' cards in play. So like I said, this one's more of a team support. Alright, so this was our guide to Bunker. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, please rate it 5 stars if you want to. And if you're watching it on YouTube, please like and subscribe. This was G-Man Gaming and Reviews. Thanks for watching.